much for joining me today. I'm Colleen Klimczak. I'm an organizational and productivity coach and a certified professional organizer. I own Peace of Mind Professional Organizing, LLC. Since 2003, I've been helping my clients live better lives through organizing and organizational and productivity coaching. I support my clients and my community with coaching, in-person and virtual organizing, my weekly podcast called Your Organized Life with Colleen Klimczak, a free weekly virtual productivity session called Finish Line Friday, a free weekly email newsletter, and regular content on Facebook and Instagram. I also offer presentations and professional development to groups and companies. And coming soon, I'll be launching a membership circle to support my community with even more coaching and productivity content. Want to finish strong this week? Join me for Finish Line Friday every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Central for a 2-hour productivity session. Drop me an email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com to request my Zoom room link or follow the Zoom room link on my Instagram or Facebook pages. Welcome to Your Organized Life, episode 148. I talked about motivation last week, and again, thank you so much to all of you that I heard from that really appreciated the topic. And I mentioned that it was a tough topic to write about because there's just so much to say about it. And so I saved some how-tos for this week's episode. Today, we will look at supports and strategies for helping us stay motivated. Specifically, those strategies will include scheduling the work, positive work environment, body doubling, the Pomodoro technique, accountability, and batch work. And I will use my Finish Line Friday group as an example. So a few weeks ago, I sat on a sunny back deck with a client and friend and explained the point and process of Finish Line Friday. It seems that sometimes even the people who know me and my company and process, like this particular person, even if they know me well, they might not quite understand what Finish Line is or does and the components that go into it. And so today I want to explain. And this client will know exactly who I'm talking about when she listens. So we were reviewing a project that we had just worked on in her home for a couple hours that morning, and we were discussing what her next steps need to be. She is amazing, as are all of my clients. She is motivated, she is competent, and she's also juggling about a million things, again, just like most of my clients. We discussed motivation and procrastination and maintaining the progress that we had made that morning and also making more. She asked, "Is that kind of what you talk about in your meetings on Fridays?" And I laid it out for her. So first, my answer was no. No, that's not how Finish Line works. I don't teach too much during Finish Line Friday, though I do hope to start hosting more webinars soon, but not on that 2-hour session on Fridays. For the 2 hours we're together in my Zoom room, we don't talk much other than some chit chat at the beginning and at the end, and maybe a little bit on breaks. At 9 a.m., we all log in, check in with each other socially, and since all the people there are kind and friendly people, that is fun. And then we each state what we want to work on or complete during the work sessions that day. I set an on-screen timer for 25 minutes. I share that screen with the Zoom room. We all mute ourselves, and then I start the timer. And then we get to work. For the 2 hours, we work in 4 25-minute increments with optional 5-minute breaks between. Everyone brings their own work. I do not dictate or assign the work. Each participant comes with what they want to work on. One of our regular participants uses alliterations, so there's a lot of F's for Finish Line Friday, like Filing Friday, which is typically paper management, or Finance Friday, and that was mine recently. It was bookkeeping and paying monthly bills and sending out monthly invoices. Or maybe Fashion Friday, which is often different participants doing laundry or working on a closet project to swap out the clothes from summer to fall, or sometimes people have even used the time to pack for an upcoming trip. And those are just a few examples. Other attendees work remotely full-time, and they enjoy the interaction with others, and they just work on their professional tasks during our 2 hours. I am a productivity coach and a certified professional organizer, so occasionally, like this past Friday, when I was using one of the work sessions to complete a handout for 3 upcoming paper management presentations that I have, we will chat at the end of the 2 hours for a few minutes about organizing strategies or local resources, or in this case, websites for getting our names off of mailing lists. And just as an aside, those are dmachoice.org for the Direct Mail Association, catalogchoice.org, optoutprescreen.com, and the Identity Theft Resource Center, which is idtheftcenter.org. So back on topic, however. So let's look at the strategies that I mentioned at the beginning, how they pertain to Finish Line Friday, and why they work and who might benefit from them. So first up, we schedule time to work. I was talking with a fellow coach the other day who is one of my accountability partners and who inspired my Finish Line Friday with her own Work It Wednesday 2-hour productivity session. And you can check her out at the thinkinganddoingskillscenter.com. And we discussed just how much we ourselves appreciate the 2 hours of productivity in a busy week to get our own work done. I have a list of tasks that I always complete during Finish Line Friday, like my weekly bookkeeping and client scheduling. And I'll also park more tasks on my Friday to-do list because I know I will have the opportunity to complete them. So I am so grateful knowing that I have at least 2 hours of in-office productive time scheduled every Friday. So using the calendar just to schedule work helps to get that work done. The next thing that helps is a positive and supportive workspace. Do not underestimate the power of a friendly and supportive environment for getting things done. As I discussed with Annie, a library coordinator, this past week before a presentation, a positive work environment can make all the difference in motivation and getting things done some days. Next up is body doubling. So Finish Line Friday uses the concept of body doubling. In an appointment this morning, I was talking about body doubling, and the person I was talking to said, "Oh, it's kind of like a pace car in a race." And I said, "Yeah, I suppose it is." So body doubling is a productivity strategy for all of us, and especially for people with ADHD, when we work together with someone on a task. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Honestly, we've been doing this for all of human existence, but this is the intentional application of the strategy. Body doubling is useful for some of us to keep us focused and motivated. It's not for everyone or even for all the time, and that's fine. For example, in 2020, when so many of us shifted to remote work, some people struggled with working alone in a room for the first time and realized that being at work with others had been helping them focus and stay motivated during their work life. In body doubling, we keep each other focused and motivated and anchored to the work. Meaning, if we know someone is waiting for us, we are less likely to get up and walk away. As an organizer and a coach, I provide body doubling to my clients in person and virtually all the time. I bring my clients back to the work if they start to stray, because that is my purpose for being there. The same strategy can also be used with friends or coworkers, so long as both of you agree to stay focused and to also be ready to gently bring the other back if they start to stray. What I mean by all of that is the session needs to be about the work and not about chatting or conversation. I know, but sometimes we just got to get stuff done. So let me mention again that Finish Line, we mute ourselves during the work sessions on Finish Line. One of my participants just this week referred to us as work buddies in Finish Line Friday, and I love that. I've also used the term parallel play, like how toddlers will play next to each other, but with their own toys. They aren't developmentally ready to interact with each other and play for a few more years, but they happily play next to each other. So we are together in the space that Finish Line creates, and that is what body doubling does for us. For my client's purposes, as we sat on her sunny deck, I explained she could schedule the time for herself to check into the Zoom room, say hey to everyone, and have the screen up with everyone's faces, doing their work side by side with her if she would find that supportive. Camera optional if she didn't want people to see her space before she organized it. For my client on her back deck, we discussed how, even if she didn't attend Finish Line Friday, she could achieve similar results working with friends who would offer to help, either in person or virtually. She could schedule the work with the friends, make a plan for what she wants to get done in that time, set a time to work and also to take breaks, and be together with them while she gets her work done and they get their work done. Or perhaps the friend is truly there for body doubling and is willing to listen to my client process her decision-making out loud. Because, hey, some of us need to do that as we organize our spaces. The next technique that helps us all to stay motivated and that we also employ in Finish Line is the Pomodoro technique. So the Pomodoro technique is a time management and productivity technique that uses 25-minute increments. So 25-minute work sessions and 5-minute breaks in cycles to help people focus and stay motivated to get work done. It's based on productivity research that tells us that the ideal ratio for getting work done while not burning yourself out is 52 minutes of work and 10 minutes of rest. Imagine, in our 2 hours for Finish Line Friday, we have 100 focused minutes to complete meaningful work, and also 20 minutes of rest to get up and walk around, grab a drink of water or a snack, step outside for sunlight and deep breathing, or however you want to spend your breaks. I also find the 25-minute sessions with a countdown clock help me pace my work, meaning I can slow down when I realize I have plenty of time, or it helps to generate urgency, which is often lacking when we work independently. It's amazing, and it teaches us a better balance of work and rest. My client and I, on her back deck, had noticed that after an hour and a half of very physical work in her space without breaks, we were physically tired and a little mentally maxed out. So we took our break at the end to sit and drink water and talk about planning our next steps. The next tool is accountability. Accountability can be very motivating. When we are accountable, we are responsible for and ready to explain our behaviors and actions. We do what we say we will do in the time we said we would do it. So sometimes when using the Pomodoro technique, we misjudge the time needed for a task. Sometimes we need to adjust. Sometimes something else comes up in that 25-minute session and we have to attend to it. But accountability is reporting back on progress. It's celebrating wins. It's reviewing learning we gained about working while we worked. And that makes accountability to ourselves and to others a useful tool for staying motivated. And now a word about batch work. I use batch work to help me stay focused and motivated. I mentioned earlier that I have tasks that I always work on in Finish Line Friday, like bookkeeping or client scheduling. Those are groups of related tasks that I batch together to get them done more efficiently and effectively. For example, for bookkeeping, I log into my bank online and I open up Quicken and my client hours tracking sheet in Google Sheets. I make deposits, I transfer money, I pay bills, and I send invoices and reminders. I'm motivated to do this weekly to care for my company's financial health. And doing the work as a batch means I complete it with ease and flow and a lot faster than I would if I did it in bits and pieces. So to sum up, the supports for motivation that we covered this week are scheduling the work, positive work environment, body doubling, Pomodoro technique, accountability, and batch work. Thank you to my client for reminding me to talk about these in the context of motivation. And if Finish Line Friday appeals to you, give it a try. I hope to add an additional weekly productivity session soon. And if Friday doesn't work for you, there's other platforms like focusmate.com for hopping on when you just need some accountability and body doubling to get something done. Support around getting things done is what productivity coaching is all about. If it's time to invest in yourself and explore coaching for organization and productivity, I would love to hear from you. Drop me a line via email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com or message me through my social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you next week.